Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I have traveled high and low, far and wide, and guess what? I'm literally in the middle of nowhere, and boy, oh boy, look what we have. This is a 2018 Porsche 911 GT2 RS with the Weissach package. But before we dive into the world's fastest 911 ever produced by the factory, let's talk about what's going on here. It all started back in 1963. That was the birth of the 911. And what's interesting is that when Dr. Ferdinand Porsche designed the car, technically it should not work as well as it does because the engine is past the rear axle. This is not a mid-engine car. It is literally a rear engine car. Now, in 2011 is where we saw the first introduction of the GT2 RS. That was on the 997 chassis. This being a 991, this is that new performance, 700 horsepower, making this the fastest 911. Now, what's awesome about Porsche is they know how to get it done. No other manufacturer in the history of the 24 Hours of Le Mans has won it as many times as Porsche has overall, and also individual class wins. So let's go ahead, let's dive into this 911 GT2 RS and see why it really is the ultimate supercar. Right off the bat, the styling. What I love about 911s is they are unmistakable. You could be a quarter of a mile away, cover one eye and squint with the other, and you know the shape is a 911. Now, when going GT2 RS, you're getting the best of everything. And if you've ever wondered, what does RS stand for? It stands for Rennsport. Racing sport. It's all about getting that engineering, the technology, and bringing it into this vehicle. You could see the extra width, just how wide the front of this 911 is. You have those classic, they're oval, but remember, you go back to the early generations, they were round. They really haven't changed much in their design, and this headlight technology was actually developed at the 24 Hours of Le Mans over the past few years. But of course, you're gonna get LED headlights, daytime running lamps, and turn signals. You work your way down, full functionality with the massive venting. So you can see we have a little bit of flat black, you have your exterior lighting, but you have this beautiful wire mesh grille on both corners, gonna try to bring as much air into the coolers, and really digging the massive front splitter. This looks like a 911 race car. I mean, it basically is for the street. Now, as we come across the front nose, a lot of going on. So lots of carbon fiber, especially because this is the Weissach package, you're gonna be shaving tons of weight. This car is about 300 pounds less, weighs less than a 911 turbo. So think about that. And this is not all-wheel drive, it is rear-wheel drive. You can see that massive front splitter, the way they stamped the GT2 RS badging there, the wire mesh on both sides, all across, fully functional. What I really love is how they actually used a little less paint when you go this route to leave some of that carbon fiber bare. So on that front mounted trunk area, this is full carbon fiber. You can see the carbon fiber aerodynamics to help channel that airflow. We go up on the front, and one thing I want to point out is the Porsche emblem, that classic gold badging there, that's actually an emblem sticker. It's not an actual metal emblem or plastic. It's literally a sticker to help cut weight and just make it as smooth as possible. I love the two NACA ducts to help flow air for all the cooling, all the aerodynamics, all carbon fiber. That bare carbon fiber showing through, cutting some weight down, saving some paint. We come around the bend. What are we working with wheel and tire setup? On this particular one, we're looking at magnesium wheels. You got that center locking nut, just like a Porsche 911 race car. Love the flat black, the split spoke, that wide design really just sets it perfect with this particular example. But you got 20-inch wheels up front. We'll talk about the rears when we get there. Obviously, on a GT2 RS, standard are going to be those massive UFO size carbon ceramic rotors. And then check out those calipers, going to squeeze down, those Brembo calipers are going to squeeze down and shed the speed on this 911 GT2 RS, just like your Husky sheds hair. On the fender treatment, all of this has been designed at the racetrack. So if you're wondering, well, what is all this venting? This is actually for channeling air. It helps produce downforce and help this 911 GT2 RS stick to the track. Up front, you're looking at 255 on the width, very slim and trim, 35 series sidewall. Look at it, look how they have the wire mesh even on the side. Everything is just done to detail as you would expect from Porsche, because just like that old advertisement from the 1980s, Porsche, there is no substitute. Magnesium wheels, crazy. Going down the side of the vehicle, you can see we have the carbon fiber mirrors. Love the way they have the bare carbon fiber. This one has the carbon fiber roof, shedding the weight, bringing down the center of gravity. That's gonna help us with the steering. There's our GT2 RS badge on the side, another stick on, stick 'em, because we're trying to cut weight and we're trying to keep everything smooth. Even the way the side sill extension flares out as you get towards the massive rear. And that's one thing on a 911 Turbo, just like on this GT2 RS, they get really flared at the back. Functional venting, carbon fiber. It's a little bit of a love bug. Don't worry, Victor, it's not gonna bite you. Maybe you'll fall in love if it does bite you. But anyways, carbon fiber, it's gonna channel air into the intercoolers. Now what's interesting is that you actually have a water misting system that cools the intercoolers to help bring down that charge and generate that 700 horsepower out back. You thought 20-inch magnesium wheels were big? 21-inch. You're looking at 325 on the width. They're basically steamrollers. Love the center locking lug nut. You can see the Porsche. I'm gonna have Victor kind of zoom in. The Porsche name on that aluminum hat bolted to that carbon ceramic rotor. Just a piece of engineering and just drop dead gorgeous. I just love this car. I want to rub my hands all over it. We come to the rear. You can see that additional width, the beautiful flat black, the wire mesh, and then we get to the tail end of the business. Remember, that flat six twin turbocharged engine underneath this rear hatch. You have the massive carbon fiber rear wing. This is obviously adjustable to give you more or less downforce. I love the way it's got the Porsche name there. Coming off the back glass, you got the RS script on that back glass. Flows in very nicely. More wire mesh, more carbon fiber. It's just everywhere you look, you're always learning something about this car. You could stare at this car for 25.6 years and you're gonna find something new every time you look at it. The wire mesh, that massive rear diffuser, gonna help suck it to the ground just like a Hoover vacuum cleaner or a Dyson. Those are the latest and greatest, gonna stick to the ground. And I like the way they kept it simple on the exhaust outlets. Nice flat black, 2 round openings, 1 on each side. Really ready to rock and roll. But why don't we pop this engine hatch and lift up this massive rear wing and see what is powering this 911 GT2 RS. All right guys, we got the rear hatch open. Before we just dive in, one thing I did not mention earlier is that to help cut weight, there's also carbon fiber bits on the suspension components. So things like the anti-roll bars, we're always talking about those on Rady's rides. Usually a car that's more performance oriented has a thicker anti-roll bar. On this vehicle, they're made out of carbon fiber to help cut weight. Underneath that engine cover, not a lot of engine to see because of all the cooling that is needed, but you could clearly see the carbon fiber. What we're looking at underneath those 2 cooling fans is going to be that 3.8 liter twin turbo flat 6 producing 700 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. If you're wondering, well, what kind of boost are the turbos running at? You're looking at 22.5 pounds of boost. It's mated to 1 transmission and 1 transmission only. It's that PDK, that's Porsche's dual clutch system. And this one is specifically tuned for the 911 GT2 RS. The car weighs in, depending on who you ask, and depending on how many fluids are in the car, i.e. fuel, around 3,167 pounds. Here comes the mind-blowing numbers, and this is why Porsche is the best at producing this car with so much speed. 0 to 60, 2.5 seconds. Quarter mile is gonna blaze by at 10.5 seconds at 132 miles an hour. Top speed, 211 miles per hour. That's with a limiter. If you take the limiter off and you put some super sticky Pilot Cup 2 tires, this car could top out at 221 miles an hour. Remember, we're talking about a 911 here. This is performance that would surpass the greatest of those supercars that we know, the 720, the F8 Tributo. And then at the end of the day, MPGs, if you're even concerned about that, 15 in the city and 21 on the highway. I know a lot of cars including my own Shelby GT350R, doesn't get fuel economy like that. But if you're ready for an eargasm, I'm definitely ready for an eargasm. Let's fire up this GT2 RS and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside the 911 GT2 RS. What a special moment. I definitely want to thank Pierce, a great subscriber, a great fan of Rady's Rides, connecting me to this car. And boy, oh boy, I don't think I've ever felt so connected sitting in a car like this 911 GT2 RS. Now, I know you're probably saying, well, Joe, how much does one of these cost? I may be looking at a supercar and want something that, hey, it's a 911, but boy, oh boy, it performs like no 911 before it. How much is this? With the Visac package, the Chrono package, and everything else that it has, you're looking around $344,000. But remember, around the Nürburgring, this thing will beat a Porsche 918. So think about that. Think about Porsche GT, this thing will beat it. Let's see what you're getting for the money. To the door panels. Love the leather, love the red contrast stitching, the carbon fiber. Look at that, that's a little red tether as your ability to open up your door. So instead of an actual metal door handle or carbon fiber or plastic, it's just a cloth tether. The Alcantara, this one has the Bose sound system. Little small door pocket, but you know what? You're not bringing any Twinkies in my 911 GT2 RS, especially this one. Now, look at how nice the dash is far forward in these 911s, and it makes sense. The layout of everything makes sense. You have the beautiful, nice soft touch material, carbon fiber, look at that, the Visac package there. You push this, you got your cup holders. How crazy is that? Cup holders in a race car. Yes, it can be done. Yes, it has been done. We get to the center stack, you can see the clock up there, the stopwatch, that's part of that Chrono package. Looks really great, so much history. The red stitching, even the way they brought the red into the AC vents. You have your infotainment system. I don't care about it because you know what? I wouldn't turn on this radio if you pay me to turn it on because I want to listen to that flat six twin turbocharged engine. You do have a CD player, so you can listen to Beastie Boys. You can rock out to Whoop There It Is by Tag Team if you want to. You have those options in your 700 horsepower Porsche 911. Dual climate control, easy to use, easy to figure out. And the great news is, I love the way 911s, it's an evolution, not a revolution. This is gonna control that 7-speed PDK DCT transmission like the Alcantara. That beautiful brushed aluminum is looking great. GT2 RS badge. And then you're gonna be able to open up the exhaust. You put your PDK into sport mode. It's got the lift system, which is great. There are a few dead buttons, but you know what? I'm not complaining because it's an honor to be in this car. Carbon fiber everywhere. Look at this, the beautiful Alcantara. You can put some race-winning Twinkies in here. Probably about 4 race-winning Twinkies. Just don't get the cream everywhere, especially on this interior. And then look at these seats. Right out of a race car. Love the embroidery, the bright red, the carbon fiber, one-piece backs. This is not a daily driver. The bolstering is intense. It's race car worthy. You got your red seat belts. And then, of course, you're gonna have your fire extinguisher. And one of the best parts, no rear seat. Normally on a 911, there is a rear seat delete, nothing back there. But why don't you come over to the business end? I wanna show you behind this beautiful Alcantara wrapped steering wheel in this GT2 RS. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel of this GT2 RS. The carbon fiber on the sill, the beautiful script there. Look at the seats. I love the bolstering. I'm ready to take this to Sebring. I'm ready to take this down to Homestead, Daytona, Watkins Glen, Laguna Seca, Coda. I'm ready to rock and roll in this thing. This thing is amazing. Now let me point out a little piece of Porsche history. Now of course you have your Porsche key fob, and what's cool is it's the same color as the car and it's shaped like a 911. But if you've ever wondered why is the ignition on the left hand side, this was developed from the 24 hours of Le Mans. So when the drivers would run across the track and get in, they could immediately start the car up, put it into gear, and go. Now, here's a little test. Let's pretend we're on Jeopardy. When's the last year that they did the running start? Yes, you in the back. Yes, you are correct. 1970 was the first year where the drivers actually started in the actual car first. They did not run. So that would mean 1969 was the last year. And you know what's awesome? 1970, Porsche won the race overall. Fantastic history. But you have the Alcantara wrap steering wheel. Look at the way they hollow each of the spokes out. You got the beautiful Porsche crest, Stuttgart, Germany, where they're built to this day. Carbon fiber paddles to go up and down that 7-speed DCT. And then the gauges look just like they came off of the past, which is good. I like that. That massive tack in the center. You do have a digital display over to the right, but everything else is analog, as it should be in this race car. Even the way they have the top dead center on the steering wheel, beautiful bright red. You can see the peaks of the fenders. Driving a 911 is like none other. Since we're talking about driving, if you're ready, I'm ready. I have my towel. Let's go do some on-throttle driving in this 911 GT2 RS. All right, guys, we're in the Porsche 911 GT2 RS. Very, very special moment. I'm actually the first run. We're gonna leave it in automatic because you know what? That PDK transmission shifts faster and better than anybody can, including yours truly. So I realize that, but I'm ready to rock and roll. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and get on throttle. On throttle. Here we go, yeah. Wow. Instantaneously, you're pushed back into this racing seat. I love hearing the turbos just spool up, and the sound is just ridiculous. There's just something so unique about a flat six, whether it's turbocharged or not. Now, what's cool is if you want more sound and you want naturally aspirated power, Porsche does make a GT3 RS that has a naturally aspirated flat six. Obviously, we have more power, we're faster than the GT3 RS, but just something to be aware of. All the controls are perfectly laid out. They make so much sense, and just the steering is so connected, so very connected. All right, guys, here we go. On throttle. Wow. Wow. Oh my God, this car. Unbelievable. The way it handles, the speed, the sensation. Look at this. And it's so unique. It's not like a mid-engine car, because it's not a mid-engine car. It's a rear-engine car, and it has such a unique personality to it, and that's what I love about the 911, is just how unique it is. You hear those pops, you hear the bangs coming from the exhaust. Boy, oh boy, this car is something else. Second gear, on throttle, here we go. Wow, oh my God. You just see the tachometer just go all the way to 7,000 RPM, and every time you hit, I put it into manual shift mode, every time you shift, there's a nice hit to it. It feels very precise, very just on the money, which allows the chassis to not get all shaken up. You know, you don't want a lot of movement every time you shift gears. You want the chassis to stay stable, and that's what allows you to get the power to the ground, because remember, we are rear-wheel drive. This is not an all-wheel drive 911. Just something to think about. All right, guys, here we go. On throttle. So connected. Jeez Louise. I can feel, it's like you can feel the aero actually working and pushing the car to the ground. That massive rear wing. There's no compromise in this car. If you're looking for a car that's not gonna be too tight on the seats, it's gonna have a soft, cushy ride all the time, you're looking at the wrong Porsche. This thing is no compromise. I got a massive adjustable carbon fiber rear wing in my rear view mirror I'm staring at. Loving all the beautiful aero work on the fenders and everything. The carbon fiber paddles. On throttle. Look at this. Ridiculous. Absolutely. And the bite you get when you get on the brakes from those carbon ceramic rotors, those calipers clinching down, like I said earlier, you're shedding speed faster than a husky sheds hair. That's how much speed you're able to just shake off as you're driving this car. Unbelievable. All right, guys, here we go. On throttle. So connected. Jeez Louise. I can feel, it's like you can feel the aero actually working and pushing the car to the ground. That massive rear wing. There's no compromise in this car. If you're looking for a car that's not gonna be too tight on the seats, it's gonna have a soft, cushy ride all the time, you're looking at the wrong Porsche. This thing is no compromise. I got a massive adjustable carbon fiber rear wing in my rearview mirror I'm staring at. Loving all the beautiful aero work on the fenders and everything. The carbon fiber paddles. On throttle. Ridiculous. Absolutely. And the bite you get when you get on the brakes from those carbon ceramic rotors, those calipers clinching down, like I said earlier, you're shedding speed faster than a husky sheds hair. That's how much speed you're able to just shake off as you're driving this car. Unbelievable. On throttle. The grip level, the way this car accelerates, I'm telling you, I've driven a McLaren 720S, I've driven a Ferrari F8 Tributo. I'm going this car. I'm going this car, and I'm telling you right now, if I could take it to a racetrack, that's where it's really gonna shine. Really, really gonna shine. But we're gonna get back to that undisclosed location, that secretive place that I looked all over Florida for. But one more time, on throttle. I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been one heck of a day. One for the memory books, one where I say, you know what, it's awesome that we have this channel to share with all of you and share these moments. I definitely want to thank Pierce, such a great supporter of Rady's Rides, connecting us with this 911 GT2 RS. I wore specifically the No Zonks Rady's Rides t-shirt, and I did that for a reason. Even though I'm sweating like crazy and I wish I had a dry fit shirt on right now, it's because this 911 GT2 RS, Porsche took all that they know, Sebring wins, Le Mans, the Nürburgring, all the great models, all the great race car drivers, all the great engineers, and they poured it into this car. And this is simply the fastest, craziest 911 of all time. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the heck is Porsche going to top this. I have a feeling eventually they will, but boy, oh boy, for right now, I would love to have one of these in my garage and definitely take it for a spin. And this red, the Guards red, such a classic color on a classic car known as the 911. What else could we say? It really is a supercar without any other definition. But if you want to keep seeing amazing cars like these on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the link in the description. Get yourself some Rady's Rides merch. We got the No Zonk shirts. We got the On Throttle shirts as well. We got to get it up to Victor. Victor loves BMWs, but you know what? He won't say it on camera or say it in front of everybody. He loves Porsches more. After this, we're going down to a tattoo place. He's going to get a Porsche crest on his back, full scale. So Victor, I'm buying for this one. Thanks for your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.